Ang pamumuno ay ang pagkakaroon ng vision para sa kanya at sa kanyang unit. Kung may vision, magkakaroon yung unit ng purpose at direction. Ganon din sa map reading. Ang map reading ay isang critical na leadership skill dahil ito ay magagamit sa pagset ng vision, which is kung saan ka pupunta, at ang pagset ng direction, which is kung paano pumunta doon. Sa araling ito, kayo ay tuturuan ng map reading para inyong ma-appreciate ang critical na leadership skill na ito.
Good day. I am Major Gilbert Conde of the Corps of Engineers, Philippine Army. I am currently assigned with the Headquarters Support Group, Philippine Army, duty with the Office of the Assistant Chief of Staff for Logistics, G4. Prior to my assignment with the OG4, I was assigned with the Combat Support School, Training and Doctrine Command, Philippine Army, where I served in various capacities such as Senior Engineer Instructor and Head of the Engineer Department. As terrain experts, engineers normally assist the commander in visualizing the terrain. Hence, for the next succeeding periods, we'll be dealing with map reading and land navigation so that you will be able to find your ways and therefore accomplish your respective missions. Maps provide the tools that the combat leader needs to visualize the battlefield and make sound decisions. The ability to visualize the terrain is vital to the success of military operations. It is therefore essential that you, as a combat leader and a soldier, understand and fully utilize topographic products available to expand your vision and see all you can see of the terrain. For this subject, our learning objective is to read, interpret the map, determine and report positions on the ground in terms of their location on the map, and perform land navigation. The reference for this subject will be from the Field Manual 21-26, which is on map reading and land navigation. What is map reading? Map reading is appreciation and utilization of maps for military use. It is therefore important that you'll be able to interpret and analyze what are those printed on the surface of the map. What is then a map? A map is a graphic representation of the portion of the Earth's surface drawn to scale as seen from above. It uses colors, symbols, and labels to represent features found on the ground. Map provides information on the existence of location, the distance between ground features, such as populated places, and routes of travel and communication. It also indicates variations in terrain, heights of natural features, and the extent of vegetation cover. For you to be able to make or interpret the map, these are the following skills required. First, you should be able to read and interpret the map, plot and read coordinates, measure distance both using the map scale and using the bar scale, read and plot azimuth by using the protractor and the compass, identify relief features and elevations, and apply the method of locating points. And finally, you must be able to navigate. It is only knowing these skills that will be efficient in what you call map reading and land navigation. On reading and interpreting the map, we'll be taking the following. We'll be talking about procurement, security, care, categories, and finally on marginal information. On the procurement, maps are normally procured by the end user using the sheet name and the sheet number, which we are going to discuss later. Requests are coursed through the Division G2 and finally up to the MiG-18 of the Intelligence Service Armed Forces of the Philippines. On security, all maps should be considered as documents that require special handling. If a map falls into unauthorized hands, it could easily endanger military operations by providing information of friendly plans or areas of interest to the enemy. If a map is no longer needed, it must be turned into the proper authority, and if a map is in danger of being captured, it must be destroyed. Maps are documents printed on paper and require protection from water, mud, and tearing. Whenever possible, a map should be carried in a waterproof case, in a pocket, or in some places where it is handy for use but still protected. To be able to use the map, we should be able to identify the different categories and types of maps. Maps are categorized into two classes or categories. First, it is according to scale. Because a map is a graphic representation of a portion of the Earth's surface drawn to scale as seen from above, it is important to know what mathematical scale has been used. The mathematical scale of a map is the ratio or fraction between the distance on the map and the corresponding distance on the surface of the Earth. Maps categorized by scale reflects the size of the features presented, meaning small-scale maps present smaller features, while a large-scale map presents a larger and more understandable features. While maps categorized by types refers to the manner that features are presented, either as one-dimensional map, two-dimension, or as a terrain model. Maps categorized according to its purpose or the manner it was made. On categories by scale, there are three different categories by scale. One is a small scale, wherein map is categorized from 1:1 million and smaller. This type of map is used for general planning and for strategic studies. The standard small scale map is 1:1 million. Next is a medium scale map. These maps are used for operational planning. The standard medium scale map is 1:250,000. Ranges of the medium scale map is between 1:75,000 and 1:1 million. For a large scale map, which is used for tactical, administrative, and logistical planning, the scale is from 1:75 and larger, in which the standard large-scale map is 1:50,000. On the slide is the different the depiction of this scale. A small-scale map perhaps reflects the whole of the Philippines, while a medium-scale map will show only part of Luzon, let us say part of Cabanatuan City, while a large-scale map will show Fort Magsaysay on the same size of paper. This means that the larger the map is, the more understandable the terrain features on the map. On the slide is an example of 1:14 million, 1:200,000, and an example of a large-scale map which reflects areas within the Fort Magsaysay, Barangay Fort Magsaysay. Maps according to type. For type, we have 8 different types of map, which shows the manner the map is made. First is the planimetric map. The planimetric map presents only the horizontal positions for the features presented. The topographic map portrays terrain features in a measurable way, as well as the horizontal position of the features represented. The vertical positions or relief are normally represented by contour lines on military topographic maps. this is the type of map that we will be using all throughout our discussion. While photo map is a reproduction of an aerial photograph upon which grid lines, marginal data, place names, route numbers, important elevations, boundaries, and approximate scale and directions have been added. The second important type of map that we'll be dealing with will be the joint operations graphic map. This map is based on a standard 1:250,000 medium scale military topographic map and is used for both, or it contains additional information needed in joint air-ground operations. And the terrain model, as the term implies, terrain model is a scale model of the terrain showing features, and in large-scale models showing industrial and cultural shapes. It is supposed to be a three-dimensional replica of the ground. It provides a means for revisualizing the terrain, for planning or interconnection purposes, and for briefing operations. A photo mosaic map, on the other hand, is an assembly of aerial photographs, while city maps is a topographic map, usually at a scale of 1:12,550 scale, and sometimes up to 1:5,000, showing details of a city. And we also have many kinds of special maps for special purposes such as trafficability, communication, and assault maps. Those are the different categories of maps by scale and type. To summarize, we have taken up the different categories of map, which is by scale and by type. If you receive a map, it is important that you will know the different informations written on its outer edges. So this time we'll be dealing with its marginal information. Marginal information and symbols are placed where useful information telling the map is located and explained. All maps are not the same, so it becomes necessary every time a different map is used to examine the marginal information carefully. Inasmuch as maps do not have the same content in its marginal information, it is important that you know the basic informations you need to be able to interpret the map. We will be discussing this in detail depending on its importance. First is the sheet name. Sheet name is in bold print and appears at the center of the top and in the lower left area of the map. A map is general name for the settlement contained within the area covered by the sheet, or for the largest natural feature located within the area at the time the map was drawn. For the map you are using, the sheet name for our map is General Tinio. Next information important is the sheet number. The sheet number is used as a reference number for the map sheet. The next important item in the margin information is the sheet number. It is found at the upper right and lower left areas of the margin and in the center box of the adjoining sheets diagram, which is found in the lower right margin. It is used as reference number to link specific maps to overlays, operation orders, and plans. Besides, again, it is a reference number for the map sheet, and you use this when you request for maps you need in your planning operations. Next information is the series name. Maps usually includes a group of similar maps at the same scale and on the same sheet lines or format designed to cover a particular geographic area. The name given to the series is generally that of a major political subdivision. Normally in the Philippines, the series name is Philippines and either Luzon, Visayas, or Mindanao. This is normally shown at the upper left corner of the margin. Map scale. It is a representative fraction or a numerical fraction or numerical scale that gives the ratio of a map distance to the corresponding distance on the Earth's surface. This is located in two areas on the map, which is the upper left margin and the lower center margin. For this map, our map scale is 1:50,000. This is a large scale map. Normally, map is part of a sequence reference expressed as either a 4-digit numeral or as a letter, followed by a 3 or 4-digit numeral in the regional grouping of allied map projects. Our map series was designated as S. This is our series number. This is normally used for indexing purposes. Next item is on the edition number. Edition numbers or maps are numbered consecutively. The highest number sheet is the most recent one. The GNT new map is numbered as edition 3 AFP MAC, which stands for the AFP Mapping Center. Index to boundaries. It is a miniature of the map that shows the boundaries that occur within the map, such as provincial and city boundaries. If you will try to scrutinize the map, it will show margin index to boundaries A and B. A, which is the northern portion of the map, represents the province of Nueva Ecija, and B, a lower margin of the map, is the province of Bulacan. One of the next important item in the margin information that you should know is the adjoining sheets diagram. The diagram usually contains 9 rectangles that represents the adjoining sheets surrounding your map. All represent sheets identified by their sheet numbers. If you will try to take note, the sheet number at the center represents the sheet number of the map sheet that you are using, which is 7273 Roman numeral 4. Meaning that the map north of the map that you are using now is 7274 Roman numeral 3. Therefore, if you want to request 4 maps, you are going to refer to this adjoining sheets diagram so that you will be provided with the appropriate or the correct map. On the lower margin of the large-scale map, and indicates the angular relationship of the true north, grid north, and the magnetic north is the declination diagram. There is a note also indicating the conversion of azimuths from grid to magnetic and from magnetic to grid next to this declination diagram. Although this does not necessarily appear on all maps, when this map appears, you should scrutinize this because this will provide corrections on the difference between the angular relationships of the true north, grid north, and magnetic north, which may affect planning operations. Next item is the bar scale. The bar scale is found at the center of the lower margin and are rulers used to convert map distance to the corresponding ground distance. In measuring elevations on the map, you need to know the interval between the contour lines. Hence, a contour interval note is indicated. It states the vertical distance between the adjacent contour lines of the map. For this map, our contour interval is 20 meters, with supplementary contours at 5 and 10 meters interval. Meaning, the contour interval or the contour lines on the map, the brown lines appearing on the surface of the map, has a vertical distance of 20 meters between two contour lines. Is spheroid note. This note have specific parameters that define the XYZ axis of the Earth. This spheroid is an integral part of the datum. In this case, The map is referred from is Freud Clark 1866. Grid note. This gives information pertaining to the grid system used and the interval between grid lines, and it identifies the UTM grid zone number. For this particular map, our grid is based on the 1,000 meter Universal Transverse Mercator Zone 51. On the projection note, it is sometimes important for you to know the type of projection system which is the framework of the map. For military map, this framework is the conformal type, that is, small areas of the surface of the Earth retain their true shapes on the projection. It is measured, angles closely approximate true values, and the scale factor is the same in all directions from a point. On the vertical datum, this is a reference for all measurements which determines elevation. At any level surface, for example, from mean sea level, you need to have a reference point for measuring vertical distances. And for this map, vertical distances are measured from the vertical datum, which is normally the mean sea level. This is found on the lower center of the margin and defines the level surface. While horizontal datum, geodetic reference point, which provides the latitude, longitude, and azimuth of a line from this point. These are the basis horizontal control surveys. For this map, the horizontal datum is the Luzon datum. This is normally the zero datum or zero measurement. This is reflected in the kilometer post in our main thoroughfares, such as our national highways. This is normally referred at the monument of Dr. Jose Rizal at the Luneta. Another information that you need to know is the control note. This indicates the special agencies involved in the control of the technical aspects of all the information that is disseminated on the map. Printing and preparation note. This note indicates the agencies responsible in the preparation and printing of the map. This also reflects the date the map was printed, and the printing data should not be used to determine when the map information was obtained. This is so because maps are sometimes reproduced from earlier versions of the map. In using the map, you need to have a reference in determining its grid coordinates. We have the grid reference box. This box is normally located in the lower margin and contains instruction for composing the grid reference system. This grid reference box includes the 100,000 meter square identification, the grid zone designation, and instructions how to read the grid coordinates on the map. Next is the unit imprint. The unit imprint is found in the lower margin and identifies the agency that prepared and printed the map with its respective symbols. This information is important to the map user in evaluating the reliability of the map. And the last information that is important is the legend. It is found on the lower left margin and identifies the topographic symbols used to depict some of the more prominent features on the map. These symbols are not always the same on every map. Other important items that you should know that are printed on the map are the following. First, what are these black lines appearing on the surface of the map? These are what you call the grid lines. These grid lines are actually measurements or lines of measurement from a given reference point, and normally has a distance of 1,000 meters between the grid lines. So, another items that you should know is the geographic coordinate tick marks. These tick marks appears on the outer edges of the map. Maps or geographic coordinates normally appears in increment of 5 minutes. These are found on the full value of these geographic coordinates are found on the lower corner margin of the map and or the four corners of the map. The next topic will be on topographic symbols. The objective that we are going to attain is reading and interpreting the map, and knowing these topographic symbols is very important. Topographic symbols represents the natural and man-made features of the Earth's surface. Normally, topographic symbols are drawn as closely to reflect as closely as possible with the features presented. And these are normally reflected in the legend which is found in the lower left corner of the map. Some of the most prominent topographic symbols are the following. A house, which is represented by a black square. Buildings. Trail, which is normally represented by the dashed black line. And bridges. Skull is represented by a black square with the flag. Quarry is represented by crossed axe. Footpath is also represented by dashed black lines but lighter black line. And built-up area normally represented with color red. Topo symbols are depicted on the legend of the map. To understand fully or better these symbols, standard colors are used. The colors black, reddish brown, blue, green, brown, and red are used in most military maps. The color red depicts classification of roads, built-up areas, and special features on the map. While color blue represents water features or most hydrographic features appearing on the map. Color green represents vegetation, while black represents man-made features or objects appearing on the surface of the map, such as buildings, towers, etc. On the other hand, the brown color depicts relief and elevation, such as contours on all their maps. For planning military operations, we need to use military symbols. These symbols are used to represent military features such as identity, size, location, and movement for troops and military activities. Likewise, this is used to represent military installations. With these military symbols, colors, when available, are used for better understanding. Red normally represents enemy forces, activities, and installations, while blue represents friendly forces. Green, on the other hand, represents engineer activities on situational maps and overlays, while yellow normally is representing contaminated areas. For military symbols, we have the different basic symbols. We have the basic symbol for a unit, which is represented by a rectangle. A symbol for command post or headquarters, which is a rectangle with a staff. Symbol for observation post, which is represented by a triangle. And circle represents logistical installations. We also have symbols for the different sizes of military units. This starts with a team or crew, squad, section, platoon, or detachment. While a company is represented by 1 bar, battalion with 2 bars, regiment 3 bars, brigade 1x, and division 2x's. Different unit role indicator are also used. Cross strap is used by the infantry. The track of the armored vehicle represents the armor. Dome represents the air defense, while icon for a bridge represents the engineer. Symbol for chemical, the lightning for the signal, and the cannonball for the field artillery. There is a convention in making military symbols. First, you should indicate the unit symbol. Next is the unit or role indicator. Above the basic symbol is the size of the unit. To the left is the unit symbol. And to the right is the parent unit, the identification of the parent unit. In creating the symbol, first draw the rectangle or the basic unit symbol. Then at the middle is the unit or role indicator, in this case, the engineers. At the top of the symbol, you indicate now the size of the unit. 2 bars represents battalion, meaning this stands for engineer battalion. On the left side of the symbol is the unit indicator. 545 represents the unit designation of the battalion. While on the right side is 52, which is the parent unit. This whole symbol stands for the 545 Engineer Construction Battalion of the 52nd Engineer Brigade. As another example, you draw a rectangle for the basic unit and cross straps or the X for the infantry. Next, you draw 1 bar to indicate a company, and on the left side indicating the unit designation is Bravo Company, while on the right side indicates the parent unit, which stands for 26 IB and 402nd Infantry Brigade. Therefore, this symbol stands for Bravo Company, 26th Infantry Battalion, 402nd Infantry Brigade. Now, this time, we will draw the symbol for 1st Platoon Alpha Company, 26th Infantry Battalion. We first draw the infantry symbol, the rectangle with the cross straps. Then, draw the size indicator, which is 3 dots for platoon. Then, reflect the unit designation, which is 1st Platoon of the Alpha Company. And on the right side, you indicate the parent unit, which is the 26th Infantry Battalion. This now reflects the symbol for the 1st Platoon, Alpha Company of the 26th Infantry Battalion. To summarize the first topics that we have discussed, we have defined what is a map, its purpose, and the skills required to be proficient in map reading. We also have discussed the categories of maps, the different informations written on the outer edges of the map, the common topographic symbols used, and lastly, we have taken up the military symbols. The military grid reference system. This grid system is designated for use within a universal transverse Mercator projection. The coordinate value of points in these grids could contain as many as 15 digits if numerals alone were used. The U.S. military grid reference system reduces the length of written coordinates by substituting single letters for several numbers. Using the UTM grids, it is possible for the location of a point identified by numbers alone to be in many different places on the surface of the Earth. With the use of the military grid reference system, there is no possibility of this happening. Additionally, the use of the global positioning system requires that map users be accurate in the reported positions. Following information for the military grid reference system is indicated in the green reference box of standard large-scale maps, the grid zone designation, and the 100,000 meter square identification. The map user should be able to know these informations before he reports his position, particularly if using the global positioning system. The grid zone designation is designated by the number 51, which locates a point within zone 51, which is an area 6 degrees wide and extends between 80 degrees south latitude and 84 degrees north latitude. The grid zone designation is a number letter combination, which is in this particular example 51P, which further locates a point within the grid zone designation 51P, which is now a quadrangle 6 degrees wide by 8 degrees high. There are 19 of these quadrangles in zone 51. Quad P, which is located between 8 degrees north and 16 degrees north latitude, is 15 degrees high. The 100,000 meter square identification. After determining the grid zone designation, there is a need to identify now 100,000 meter square identification. The addition of two letters locate a point within the 100,000 meters grid square. Thus, 51P Tango Tango locates the point within the 100,000 meter square Tango Tango in the grid zone designation 51P. For information, the littering system of 100,000 meters square, we will have a separate discussion. After the 100,000 meter square identification, there is that 10,000 meter square, wherein the 100,000 meter square is divided into 10 equal parts, giving us a 10,000 meter square. The breakdown of the grid reference system continues as each side of the 100,000 meter square is divided into 10 equal parts. This division produces lines that are 10 meters apart. Thus the coordinates 51P Tango Tango 90 would locate a point as shown in figure 4.16 of your reference. The 10,000 meter grid lines appear as index, meaning heavier grid lines on a map at 1:100,000 and larger. Shown is the grid reference box and shows the location of the grid zone designation and the 100,000 meter square identification. This also provides instruction on the 100 meter reference in reporting points within the map sheet. In this example also, the grid zone 51P is indicated. Likewise, a 100,000 meter square identification is indicated, meaning that this map is in between 4 100,000 meter square identification, the Tango Tango, the Uniform Tango, Tango Sierra, and the Uniform Sierra. This is indicated in your map by the heavy lines that is along the 00 grid line. 00 north-south and east-west grid line. Following are the example of the data from the military grid reference system. Grid zone designation, 51P, as earlier explained, the 100,000 meter square identification, and to follow our grid coordinates up to 8 digits, which gives you nearest to 1,000 meters for 4 digits, nearest to 100 meters to 6 digits, and nearest to 10 meters if you give 8-digit coordinate. The following data will be obtained by the map user from the map using the principle read, write, up. A 1,000 meter square, which is a 4-digit, in this example is 1020. A 100 meters is 6-digit, 102205, and 10 meters 8-digit at 10262053. If you will take note, grid coordinates or the numbers are given continuously without gaps or any markers in between. You can also give locations up to 1 meter, or meaning the more digits you use, the more accurate is your given coordinate. To do this, we only have one principle to use, which is the basic principle in reading map coordinates. This is the principle read, write, up. Right corresponds to the number of the vertical grid line in which the object should be to the right of this vertical grid line. The word up is indicated where the object is above the horizontal grid line. Similarly, right also indicates the first half of the coordinate and is the number of the north-south grid line where the object is to the right. On the up, it is the second half of the coordinate and is the number of the east-west grid line in which the objective is supposed to be above the line. These are examples of the application of the read, write, up. You are given the first number nearest to 100 meters, right 98, up is 05. Nearest to 100 meters, 9830157. And nearest to 10 meters, 98320573.